Good morning, everyone. My name is Ndacia Turner, and today I'm going to teach you how to make the perfect iced coffee. As my audience, I want you to leave knowing exactly how to make the perfect iced coffee without spinning an arm and a leg. To make the perfect iced coffee, there are a few steps that you need to take. First, you need to gather your materials. Second, you need to prepare the night before. And lastly, you have to put it all together the morning of. Now, I know we can all attest to Starbucks, McDonald's, or Dunkin' being our guilty pleasure. It's easy to spend $5 on a frappe just to walk around school with the cup. Or maybe you really needed that coffee to get through the all-nighter you just pulled the night before. Either way, it gets expensive and it can add up. What if I told you that I had the perfect iced coffee recipe that was both cheaper and easier to get to? You'd jump aboard, right? I know I would. That's why over the past year, I have successfully come up with a cheaper, more easily accessible, and perfect iced coffee recipe. I'm gonna show you this recipe. Now, I'm gonna tell you ahead of time. There are 3 specific steps that you need to take. First, gather all your materials. Second, I'm gonna show you how to prepare the night before. And lastly, you'll see the best part, which is putting it all together the morning of. On to the best part, which is the coffee. Let's go. The first step of making the perfect iced coffee is gathering your materials. The materials you'll need are a hot coffee cup, a tumbler, instant coffee or coffee grounds of your choice, I'm using Folgers, creamer, sweetener, and ice. You'll also need a kettle to boil the water and a stirrer of some sort. I'm using a spoon. Now, to the perfect iced coffee recipe, there are some variations for your preference. The first variation can be the type of coffee that you use. I'm using instant coffee, but you can also use coffee grounds that you brew. The second substitution is the creamer. I'm using an actual creamer, caramel macchiato. You can also use almond milk, sweetened condensed milk, oat milk, or whatever creamer of your choice. The third variation is the sweetener. I'm using sugar, but sugar is not the healthiest. Therefore, you can use stevia, honey, or no sweetener at all. If you feel like your creamer is already sweet enough, then you don't need a sweetener. It's all up to you and your preference. I will tell you, if your coffee is sweet hot, it's gonna taste even sweeter cold. Keep this in mind when I walk you through step 2. Once you've gathered your materials, it's time to move on to preparation. Let's go. Now we're on to step 2, which is preparing the night before. The first thing you're gonna wanna do and put it to the side is boil your water. So now that you have your boiling water, get your cup and put 2 to 3 scoops of instant coffee in your cup. I'm using Folgers, and the spoon that I'm using is about 2 to 3 tablespoons. Next, once your water has boiled, put it in your cup. Fill it up 2/3 of the way. Next, put in your creamer. I prefer to measure by color, which means that I like my coffee to be a medium brown color. The darker it is, the more bitter it will be, and the lighter it is, the sweeter it will be. You pour your creamer, stir it up. Now, put your sugar in your cup. Now that you've poured your sugar, stir up your sugar very well. It's all up to you. Continuously taste it throughout this process so you know how sweet it's gonna be. The last thing to do for the night before is to put it in the refrigerator. So go ahead, put it in the refrigerator, and we'll move on to step 3. Now everyone, let's move on to the last step, which is step 3. In this step, you're gonna first take your hot cup of coffee, which is now cold, out of the refrigerator. Get your tumbler, take your ice, and fill your cup up with ice. Take your cup of coffee from the refrigerator and pour it into your cup. I'm using a funnel, but it's not required. It just helps keep from having a mess. Once you pour the coffee into the cup with the ice, you're almost there. Take your top, twist it back on, and there you go. The perfect iced coffee for you to enjoy. I have another note for you guys. The amount of ice you use depends on how concentrated or watered down you want your coffee to be. Now, Because we prepared a regular cup of coffee and put it in the refrigerator, it's already pretty concentrated. However, if you put a little bit of ice, it'll be less watered down. And if you put a lot of ice, over time, it will water down. Keep this in mind when you're choosing how much ice to put in your tumbler. The last thing to do is enjoy. I told you I had the perfect recipe. Now you guys, I'm so happy you can enjoy an iced coffee just as good as Starbucks right in the comforts of your own home. To achieve this perfect iced coffee, I walked you through each step. First, telling you which materials you need to gather. Secondly, how to prepare the night before. And lastly, to the best part, which is putting it all together. By following these instructions, you'll have the perfect iced coffee as guaranteed that doubles as cheap and better than Starbucks, McDonald's, and Dunkin'. As we come to a close, I want you to enjoy your iced coffee and all the money you'll save.